The Bentley showroom carried the scent of expensive leather, polished wood, and wealth. It was the kind of place where customers rarely asked about prices because money was never the issue. Ryan Carter didn't fit that world. His grey work shirt was faded from years of labor. Grease stained his sleeves, and traces of engine oil still marked his hands from the job he had left early that afternoon. Standing across from him, service manager Gerald Holt looked flawless in his tailored suit. Without much emotion, he slid a clipboard across the counter. The total repair estimate comes to $200,000. The woman beside Ryan froze. Diana Voss, CFO of a successful logistics company and owner of the Bentley Bentayga parked in Bay 4, stared at the number. $200,000, she asked, barely believing it. Gerald nodded confidently. Our diagnostics show major failures in 4 connected systems. The ECU, adaptive suspension controller, active chassis system, and the primary sensor array. All 4 units need replacement. The parts must come directly from the factory, followed by specialized calibration. Estimated repair time is at least 6 weeks. Diana slowly turned toward Ryan. You told me to let you inspect it before I approved anything. For the first time, Gerald really looked at him, noticed the work clothes, the rough hands, the fact that he wasn't wearing a suit. And you are? Gerald asked. Ryan Carter. Ryan picked up the clipboard and studied the report. I'm a mechanic. A faint expression crossed Gerald's face. This is a Bentley, Mr. Carter. These systems require factory software, specialized equipment, and certified training. Ryan calmly nodded. I understand. He placed the clipboard down. Can I see the vehicle? Years earlier, Ryan had never planned to become a mechanic. His dream had been engineering. He earned a scholarship, gained admission, and had his future carefully mapped out. Then everything changed. During his second year, his wife Sarah became seriously ill. Ryan left school. He worked. He cared for her. And when she eventually passed away, he was 29 years old, raising a 6-year-old daughter named Maisie on his own. All he really had was a rented house, a toolbox, and the determination to keep moving forward. Over time, people began hearing about him. He wasn't flashy, he didn't advertise, but somehow he kept fixing vehicles that others couldn't. Cars that dealerships had declared impossible. Cars that came with shocking repair estimates. Ryan approached every problem the same way, pointedly, carefully, without showing off. And more often than not, he found the answer. Diana had learned about him through a recommendation. She was moments away from approving the dealership's repair bill when someone told her, talk to Ryan first. Now, Gerald escorted him to Bay 4 with the attitude of a man humoring someone he didn't take seriously. The dark navy Bentley Bentayga sat under bright shop lights. Its exterior looked perfect. Yet the luxury SUV couldn't travel faster than 30 miles per hour without triggering warning lights throughout the dashboard. Ryan walked around it slowly once. Then again, he didn't touch anything. He simply observed. Finally, he opened the hood. Gerald folded his arms. Several feet away, a young technician named Marco Ree watched quietly, curious about what was about to happen. Ryan connected his personal diagnostic scanner to the OBD port. IRL codes immediately appeared. He reviewed them, then reviewed them again. Something wasn't adding up. A moment later, he crouched beside the front wheel well. Using a small flashlight from his shirt pocket, he followed the sensor wiring. Then he stopped. His eyes locked onto something. Without saying a word, he reached in and carefully removed a tiny component. When he stood back up, he held it between 2 fingers. A crankshaft position sensor, barely larger than a lipstick cap. A thin crack ran across its housing. Ryan looked at it for a second, then said quietly. Gerald frowned. That's not the problem. Ryan held up the sensor. It is. The diagnostics show failures in 4 different systems. Ryan nodded. Because all 4 systems are reacting to the same bad information. The room suddenly became very quiet. He pointed at the damaged sensor. This is sending corrupted position data to the ECU. The ECU tries to compensate and sends incorrect commands to the suspension controller. The suspension controller flags the chassis system. Then the chassis system triggers warnings in the sensor array. He paused. It's one fault creating four symptoms. Gerald shook his head. A crankshaft position sensor wouldn't cause all that. On most vehicles, probably not. Ryan rotated the part in his fingers. But Bentley's integrated drive dynamics platform links all four modules through a shared data architecture. Then he added something unexpected. It's listed in Bentley's 2019 technical bulletin. Gerald stared. Ryan continued. Page 34. Across the shop, Marco immediately headed toward a computer. Gerald remained silent. Ryan wasn't finished. The part number is Bosch 0261210170. He glanced at Diana. 3 local parts stores have it in stock within 5 miles of here. Then came the sentence that changed everything. It costs about $14. Diana covered her mouth, not because she was shocked by the price, because she had almost approved a $200,000 repair for a $14 component. Marco, Gerald said carefully, pull up that bulletin. Marco already had it open. A few seconds later he looked up. The expression on his face said more than words could. Page 34, he confirmed. Integrated module cascade. Crankshaft position sensor listed as the primary fault trigger. Silence filled the service bay. Nobody spoke. The cracked sensor rested on the workbench, just a small piece of plastic. Yet somehow it had disguised itself as a $200,000 disaster. Finally Diana asked, "Why do you have a Bentley sensor in your truck?" Ryan smiled slightly. "I don't." Everyone looked confused. Then he explained, "I keep a collection of common sensors that cross-reference across 17 manufacturers." He shrugged. "This Bosch unit is a universal fit." A brief pause. "I checked the cross-reference while driving here." Exactly 38 minutes later, the replacement was installed. Ryan started the engine. Everyone watched. No warning lights, no fault messages, no alarms. Nothing. The dashboard was completely clean. The Bentley engine settled into a smooth, quiet idle. The sound every luxury car owner hopes to hear. Marco actually let out a breath he didn't realize he'd been holding. Diana sat behind the steering wheel and gripped it tightly. She looked close to tears. Nearby, Gerald still held the clipboard. For a long time he couldn't find anything to say. Then finally, "We would have found it eventually." Ryan packed away his tools. Without turning around, he answered, "Maybe." There was no anger in his voice, just honesty. Diana paid him for 2 hours of labor plus the $14 sensor. Then she handed him another check. Ryan immediately tried to refuse it. "I can't take this." "Yes, you can," Diana replied. "Consider it a finder's fee. I only fixed the car." She shook her head. "No, you saved me from making a $200,000 mistake." She placed the check in his hand. "You didn't have to come here today." Ryan looked down at the amount. It was enough to pay for Maisie's after-school program for the next year and a half. For a moment he couldn't speak. Then he simply said, "Thank you." Diana smiled. "No, Ryan, thank you." A little later, Ryan drove away from the dealership. As he approached a red light, his phone rang. The caller ID showed Maisie. "School." He answered immediately. "Hey, Bug. Everything okay?" "Dad," her cheerful voice instantly brightened his day. "Can we have pasta tonight?" Ryan smiled. After everything that had happened, that question somehow felt more important than the Bentley. "Yeah, really, with cheese on top, with cheese on top." "Okay, good. Love you. Bye." The call ended. Ryan sat quietly at the light. The afternoon sun shone through the windshield. His tools rattled softly in the truck bed behind him. And he thought about something simple. Sometimes problems look enormous, impossible, expensive, terrifying, until the right person takes the time to understand them, without panic, without ego, without assumptions. Then suddenly, what looked like a $200,000 catastrophe becomes a $14 part and a 40-minute repair. And sometimes, that's the difference between disaster and getting home in time for dinner with your daughter. The dealership quietly updated its diagnostic procedures the following month. 6 weeks later, Marco left and joined Ryan's shop, and according to everyone who was there that night, the pasta was excellent.